Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Courage Conversation Show. I'm your host, Ashley Easter. I'm the founder and executive director of Courage 365, and we've got a bit of a different show for you tonight. I am actually not bringing on a guest. We're going to chat together. It's just you and me, baby, tonight on Courage Conversations. And what we are going to do for this conversation is I'm going to share some exciting news that we have going on with Courage 365. There's a lot of things that have been happening over the last year, and I wanted to give you a personalized update on all the cool stuff going on with Courage 365. So I am going to be popping up some different things on the screen, so bear with me as I kind of click through slides and those types of things. But the first thing I wanted to share with you tonight is really just the mission of Courage 365. So I know some of you have joined us from the very beginning when we weren't even our own nonprofit. We were working with a fiscal sponsor, and we just had one event a year, the Courage conference, and people showed up, and it was such an amazing experience. And then some of you have been with us from the beginning there and traveled with us all the way to when we began having our own nonprofit in 2020. And we're here now and doing all kinds of new things. Things have shifted and changed, but our mission has really stayed the same. Our goal has always been to empower survivors of abuse and to educate advocates and people who care about survivors. So, one of our big focuses as an organization is really to provide resources and education. So, unlike some nonprofits, which are really great and definitely needed, we don't typically offer direct services to survivors. We're not the ones who have shelter for women escaping abuse. We're not the ones who are the therapists talking to you. We are the ones who are here educating advocates, educating people who care about survivors, about survivor needs. We're here to support survivors on a day-to-day basis and create new and fresh resources. I know for myself as a survivor, when I first started realizing that it was abuse that I had been experiencing, it felt very lonely and isolating in the beginning. And you have these thoughts flash through your mind. What if I am alone in this? I don't feel like I know anybody who's gone through these types of things. Am I crazy? You know, all of those typical thoughts that survivors have. And it was really getting connected with resources, with other survivors, with advocates who had experience, who had really seen a lot of the same things that had happened to me happen with so many others. I began realizing that I'm not alone. And from that place, that was a great platform for me to begin healing. And definitely seeing a therapist, that is a huge part of healing. But there's also this part of community that you really just can't completely replace with a one-on-one therapy session. And it's great to have therapy once a week, or some people even twice a week, but what about those days in between? And that's really what Courage has focused on, is how can we build a community of survivors and advocates that are strong, supporting and empowering one another, and how can we create resources that survivors can use on a day-to-day basis. So in case you are new to Courage, Courage 365, in case you haven't tracked along with us on the journey, I just wanted to give you kind of that update about who we are, what our mission is, and what our focus is on serving the community. We are an organization created by survivors for survivors, and it is so important to me that our guidance, that our leadership, that the people who are involved with our organization really understand and care for survivors. And that leads me to something I wanted to give you updates on. That is our Courage 365 board. So we have a board of directors as a nonprofit, and we have a variety of different board members, and some of them you may be familiar with, some of them you may not be. We actually just in the last couple months onboarded a couple of new board members, and I wanted to kind of introduce to you some of the people that are really part of our team making Courage 365 work, creating resources, and showing up to really allow all of these things to happen. So I'm on the board. I'm the founder and executive director, as I've said, of Courage 365. I am a survivor myself, and I'm the one who does a lot of the day-to-day operations. And then on the board is my husband, Will Easter. So Will Easter, his official title is president of the board, and he has been helpful in so many different ways. He's showed up before we were officially our own nonprofit. He has showed up helping us fill out paperwork to make sure that we are legally legit, all of those things. And I would say that Will sees holes in the organization and he jumps in and fills them. He does whatever needs to be done to really support Courage 365 and to support me as executive director. He's also the co-founder of the organization. We work on this together. So you're probably familiar with me. You're probably familiar with my husband, Will, but let me introduce you to a couple of other members on our board. So one of our longtime board members, she, other than Will and I, has been on the board the longest. Her name is Lydia Forsyth. So she is a survivor. She actually has her own nonprofit. She's a fitness coach, and she's written a book after surviving abuse. And Lyria has been amazing for Courage. Back before the pandemic, she actually hosted a mini Courage Conversation event live in Pennsylvania, and it was such a huge success. She really is on our team. She is looking for ways to show up always to professionalize us, to make sure that I'm not working too hard because I tend to do that. She gives so much insight and wisdom from both a survivor perspective, but then also from an administrative director perspective. That is really her role on the board, and we are so thankful for Lyria and all the amazing work that she's done. Next, you probably are familiar with Maureen Garcia. She has been on our board for, gosh, has it been maybe a year, 2 years now, maybe 2 years. I lose track of time, but Maureen is such an integral part of Courage 365. She helps me with booking guests. She has hosted the Courage Conversation show along with me. She really has also showed up and created some beautiful resources that I'm going to talk to you about in the end, part of the things that we offer for free for our survivor community. And she's a survivor herself. She was married to an abusive man, and her story really grounds her as a survivor in this movement. But in addition to that, she's also our safety advisor. So she's gotten a lot of training in how to keep things safe. So she looks over our policies and procedures to make sure we're doing things in the most ethical and safe way possible. So super thankful for Maureen. Next, we have on our board Tasha Hunter. Tasha Hunter, actually, we first really connected a little while ago, and she was one of our Courage Conversation guests. And from that time when she was a guest, I knew right off that I needed to show her work to the board, and they were like, yes, we must bring her on because she is a licensed therapist. She's written a book. She has an amazing therapy practice, and it was important for us to, as best we could, try to find somebody who could be on our board that had a therapist perspective. So Tasha shows up and talks to us about resources. She talks to us about therapy, and we can really trust that having her on the board, she's going to be coming at things with a trauma-informed perspective. And we are just so thankful for the things that she offers, the way she shows up for us, and really just is that knowledge base of a licensed therapist that is so important to running an organization like Courage 365. All right, so we just voted on 2 new board members in the last couple of months. And so they are new to the board, but we're so excited to have them here. One, you will probably recognize both of these amazing people from speaking at the 30 Days of Courage. First one is Ebony Withers. She actually has spoken at our 30 Days of Courage 2 years in a row. And whenever she speaks, she's just so engaging. She is a wonderful community builder. She has a way of connecting with people, allowing them to feel seen and heard and a part of something. She is so, so good at connecting people, at helping communities really come together. And so it was super valuable for her to come on our board. She also has had businesses in the past. She had a previous political career that she retired from. She does so many amazing things. She's also a survivor herself, and she has come on the board as our treasurer. So not only does she have those great community building skills, but she's also, as somebody who has owned businesses, been involved in politics and nonprofits and those types of things, she shows up as our treasurer. So super happy to have Ebony working with us. And then last but not least, we have Eric. And I always butcher his last name, so I'm going to read it. Schwarwinsky. You know me as a dyslexic. I have such a hard time pronouncing names. But Eric, he is such an amazing person. You might be familiar with him, not only from our 30 Days of Courage event that we've had in the past, but he also has a very popular podcast called Preacher Boys, where he talks about abuses within the Independent Fundamentalist Baptist Church. He has so many skills on really getting the message out of survivors, getting their stories out in the public, and helping people who maybe don't have a platform but need to be heard to be elevated so the world can hear what they have to say, because survivors have important things to say. So we're super excited to have Eric coming on as our growth strategist, and he is just such an amazing soul. And really everybody on the board has been fantastic. I really feel like I'm working with the dream team. Um, it's one of those things where you work with an idea to show up and help support survivors. And it comes from this place in your heart where I really just want to help people. And then you realize how much work is involved. You realize, oh my gosh, I can't do this alone. And then you start taking those steps to become an official nonprofit. And then from there, you start bringing on board members. And with the board members, you start to realize, oh wow, I don't have to do this alone. These people have different skills, and they are going to help us be the best we possibly can be. And so I'm really proud to show off this as our board. So I'll try to put the links of all of our board members in the comments so you can follow them on social media, because they have a great presence there. Really, really exciting stuff. Okay, so enough about talking board members. We're going to move on to something else that is exciting. Back in, I want to say it was 2017, I had a man named Fred Sabagala reach out to me, and he lives around Kampala, Uganda. And he saw some of the work that I was doing for abuse survivors, and he told me how he really had a heart for abuse survivors in Uganda, particularly girls and women. He had seen how much his mother had struggled as a single mom, the poverty that many women experience in Uganda, and then how sometimes girls were not returning back to school because of abuses they'd experienced at home. And he really had a heart for this, and he saw that I was doing some things, and we connected. We talked, and connected over different projects for several years. And then in 2019, I was actually able to go with a group of people to Kampala, Uganda, and to visit Fred and his beautiful wife, Angela, in person. And I was able to speak at one of their events called the She Learns Conference in person. And then for the last 2 years, I've been able to virtually speak at their conference. I watched him start with this idea of supporting women and girls in Uganda and focusing on equality, focusing on caring for basic needs such as reusable sanitary pads, bringing food and education about equality and safety, encouraging women to get educated and to start businesses and jobs. And I saw him start with that idea and then become his own nonprofit and develop a board of people in Uganda. And I've had the honor of, for the last couple years, being the USA advisor, which basically means that I have kind of been like a liaison in a sort of non-official capacity where I've connected him with different resources, different people that I know in the US who can help and support the nonprofit. And so while She Learns, the nonprofit, and Courage 365 are separate, we have actually engaged now within the last couple of weeks in a formal partnership. So we're actually able to now accept donations in a legal way and to support particular projects around supporting girls and women to learn about equality, food drops to help people because COVID-19 has really affected people even more severely than here in the US, in Uganda, Kampala, and the village areas. And so we're super proud to do that. Fred is an amazing person. I've had the honor of meeting other people on his board, meeting his wife. They had a baby a couple years back, and they're about to have another one. So that's super exciting. And to just see that organization grow and have the potential of us taking some of our resources that we've created here and offering them in Kampala, Uganda for the women and girls over there. So that is super exciting. I will link to where you can check out the website and see some of the different projects that they do. If you follow Fred and his organization, he's always posting pictures and things that have happened. And yeah, he's just such a beautiful soul. And I love what they're doing, and so honored that we as an organization have been able to form a formal partnership so we can support them in particular projects. All right. Next update that I have for you is the 30 Days of Courage is coming up in October. All right. I can't believe it is almost that time of year again. But if you have been with us for a while, you will know that the 30 Days of Courage is an online live event that we put on for the 30 days during the month of October, from October 1st through the 30th. And we have had a variety of different speakers, people like Leah Remini, John Sheck. We've had Harvey Weinstein and Bill Cosby survivors. We've had Mormon church survivors. We've had just so many different people that have shown up from different walks of life who've experienced abuse, who have overcome in such a way that they're on their healing journey and they have tips and tools to share with us. So these are actually live. We have Q&As afterwards, after each of these events with the speakers. We're planning to have a panel discussion, and I believe the topic is going to be on supportive spouses. So we found that there's not a lot of resources for spouses whose husband or wife has experienced abuse, and they're like not sure how to handle it when they realize that that person had experienced abuse in the past. And so we're creating a panel discussion with some experts around that topic. So be on the lookout for that. During the 30 Days of Courage, we also have different challenges. These are self-care challenges. There are prizes that can be won. There's additional questions And we also have Saturday support groups that will show up in there so people can kind of talk about what they learned from the speakers that week. So they can talk about the self-care challenges and really just meet other survivors in a more intimate environment. So that has been highly successful in the past, and it's all going to happen inside of our Courage 365 Facebook group. And just to be clear, there's a difference between the Courage 365 Facebook page, which is public, and the Courage 365 Facebook group, which is private. And you have to answer a couple questions to join, because we do our best to try to moderate that and as best as we can, keep it a safe place. I can't promise that there won't ever be any triggers that pop up for people in the group, but we kind of have it separate from the public discussion, so you can feel a little bit more intimate and comfortable sharing your questions and things that come up for you. So that is going to be happening in October, and very soon I am going to be releasing the names of our headline speakers, of those who will be on our panel discussion, and it's going to be amazing. It's always amazing, and it's going to have so many opportunities for you to participate with the Q&As and really just conversing with the speakers in a live setting. So really, really happy about that. Another thing I wanted to share with you is we actually have a sponsor for the Courage Conversation Show, and they're called Call Me Go. And Call Me Go has this little device that you can use to help regulate your breathing if you're experiencing panic or a panic attack. It is a drug-free device that you use, and it helps regulate your breathing in such a way that you're able to calm your body. Because when you're in panic, when you're feeling that fight or flight, your breathing tends to get very rapid, and that causes the body to feel more and more stress. And there are so many different tools on the market, and Call Me Go is one of them that is just super amazing. They've done studies and testing with veterans, military vets, and really helped the survivor community as well with creating this product. So I am going to take a quick break for you to hear a little bit more about this sponsor, and I want you to pay attention, because at the end of this ad there is a code, so you can actually get a discount because you're a follower of Courage 365. And I believe they also have, it's not a super expensive device, but they do also have payment plans just to make it as accessible as possible to people. So I would check that out. So I'm going to pause for a minute so you can hear more from our sponsors at Call Me Go.
Anxiousness can strike at any time, while driving a car, in the middle of the night, when giving a work presentation, or in a crowded place. Introducing Call Me Go, a smart calming device that learns your personal breathing patterns and adapts to you for immediate relief in just 3 minutes. It quiets your senses through breathing regulation, multisensory stimulation, and calming scents. Don't stress another moment. Click the Learn More button and start using Call Me Go today.
Welcome back to the Courage Conversation Show. I have just been giving some cool updates that have happened with Courage 365 to get you all caught up to date with the exciting things that we are doing. Now I want to switch gears a little bit, and I want to tell you about some of the free resources that we have to offer our community. Now, if you tune into the show either on Facebook, YouTube, if you find us on our website, we stream to Twitter, or if you listen to the podcast version, it's possible that you watch these videos, but you haven't checked out all of the free resources that we offer survivors. And so I want to highlight some of those really cool resources that we have. They're totally free. And we have worked really hard on these, and we've especially created resources with survivors in mind. Again, these are created by survivors for survivors, and I want to share some of these different resources with you, either for yourself or for friends and family that you know. We really have a lot of resources, and I think that we don't really talk about them enough, and I really just want to get the word spread about them. So one of the resources that we have, and depending on where you're listening to this, you may already be taking advantage of it, but we have a private Facebook group. It's called the Courage 365 Facebook group. And in there, we have different discussion questions that we have. It's a great place if you've got questions, or if you have a win in your survivor healing journey, or if you need some encouragement to be a part of a closer knit community. It is small enough to where people get individualized attention, but big enough so you don't feel like the spotlight's all on you. So we've got close to about 1,000 members in there right now, and it's really a beautiful place to interact with people. And bonus, when you sign up for that, you will already be inside the group for the 30 days of courage when it happens. But even outside of the 30 days of courage, it's a great community for you to meet other survivors and advocates, have conversations, and interact with other people just like you. All right, so let me pop up a couple things on the screen. Something we're really proud of, and shout out to Maureen Garcia on our board. She actually created this for our survivor community, but it's something that we're calling Courage Cards. These are, again, totally free. It's a bundle that you can download, and it includes an ebook, some flashcards, and a video. And this bundle of Courage Cards, it talks about how to reduce the symptoms of trauma when you're feeling panic and anxiety. And we go over in the ebook and also in the video some of the long-term strategies that people can use to help alleviate anxiety and panic over a long period of time. But then we also have short-term strategies when you are feeling panic, just like right in the moment. And we talk about the science of how these different things work, how they regulate your system, and we give such a big list of things. So if one thing doesn't work for you, or one thing's not accessible for you, there's like 10 or 12 other things that you could try. And then not only is there an ebook that you can read about it, not only is there the video, but in addition, we have the Courage Cards, which are basically flashcards with the quick and easy use in the moment tools. And these are great. You can print them out yourself and put them in your purse. You can put them on your nightstand, in your wallet. You can put them wherever, maybe at work, inside your desk. And when you're starting to feel panic come on, you can pull out these flashcards and flip through and choose one of the different ways to calm and regulate your nervous system. And these are so helpful. This actually is something that I have used in like a lower tech version of it for years. And I haven't just used it for myself, but I've used it to give my husband tips about how to help me when I'm feeling panicked. Because I don't know about you, but sometimes when you're feeling panicked, the last thing you can think about is, what is a strategy to calm myself? And so having a card that you can pull out and, oh, here's a suggestion. Oh, this one doesn't feel right. Well, let me flip to the next one and try that. Sometimes that can be really helpful when you're alone, but there are other times where I've actually been in situations where my panic has been so bad, I couldn't even like process things on a card. And so I've given cards, things that I actually wrote on before we created this resource, to my husband. And I'm just like, when you see me starting to get into a state of panic, these are things I know work for me. And I would like you to actually suggest some of these things, because sometimes in the moment, I'm not even cognizant of how can I calm myself down. I'm just thinking about the thing that I'm panicked about. So these are really useful, not only if you're alone and can't think of what to do, but you can give it to a friend, a spouse, somebody that you know is there to support you, so they can have the frame of mind to be like, okay, I want to help. I don't know what to do. Let me flip through these cards that you've given me before, and I can suggest these things and help you work through these. So again, it's totally and completely free. You just go to our website, courage365.org, and there's a tab that says cards at the top, and it's ready for you to download and use on demand. A couple of other things that we have. One is, I'm really, really proud of our need help section on the website. I have had advocates who are helping survivors say that this is their go-to list to recommend resources to somebody that is in crisis. Now, this does not take away from reports to the police and social services, but sometimes there's things and situations that pop up where somebody needs something different, or police, social services has already been called and they need more support than that. And so we've actually created this list, and it has different categories so you can quickly get to the sections that you need. So we've got a 24/7 hotline list, and there's a link that you can just click and it brings you to all the different types of hotline that are available 24/7. Legal services, counseling services, abuse and faith communities, domestic violence, rape, incest, sexual assault. We've got a human trafficking section. We have child abuse and neglect, male survivors, supportive blogs and websites. And all of these are linked on our website. So they can be a resource not only to survivors themselves, but really for advocates who are like, hey, this person is struggling and I know that it's out of the realm of my expertise. Who can I refer them to? And instead of doing a ton of research, you can come to our website and look through the list and already have kind of a leg up on organizations you can suggest to somebody to look into. So that is available. And by the way, if you have suggestions of things you think should be added, different categories, we would love to hear what your suggestions are so we can make this list even more and more robust. All right. Other free resources that we have on the website is just on our homepage. If you scroll down, we have an ebook. And this is 5 Keys to Living a Life of Courage. It's a simple ebook, and it's really one of those resources. Again, it's free, and it's short, because if you have a feeling like, oh my gosh, is this abuse that I'm experiencing, and you want to kind of know definitions and next steps that you could take and suggestions of resources, nobody's got time to read a 500-page book to get help. So this is like a short ebook with some of your next most courageous steps and how you can get resources and walk forward in your healing journey. So that is on our website. Of course, we've got this show, Courage Conversations. We have the Courage Clubs, which is something that is fairly new. These are our online peer support groups for survivors. And Megan Benninger, she actually hosts these, and it's every Wednesday, every first Wednesday of the month. We'll be taking a break in the month of October because of the 30 Days of Courage, but it's something where even if you haven't been to the past ones, we have different topics that we cover each time, and each topic is really useful. But if you skipped one or you missed one, it's not going to feel weird if you show up to one and you haven't been to the others. It's something that we have worked really hard on. We have like a list of guidelines that we talk through about how to do our best to keep this safe, and the agreements that we have between participating members of keeping things within the group and being conscientious of other people's triggers. We have our facilitator, Megan Benninger. She's a survivor, she's an advocate, and she's gone through a background check, which is really a priority for us with our organization. And every week or every month, there's a new topic that is focused on. And these topics, they are really solutions focused. So we talk about educating on different subjects related to abuse, but then there's always tips and tools at the end. So this is something that you can learn, but also have some strategies that you walk away with. Other support groups that I've seen can be valuable, but sometimes they just expect you to show up and to share your story immediately before you get to know anybody. Here, you are welcome to share your story or bits of your story if you want to, but you don't have to. If you want to show up and not talk at all and just listen, that's okay. If you want to show up and only engage with the material and the topic, you can still feel part of the conversation without having to get super vulnerable before you're comfortable. Or if you're in a place where you'd like to say, hey, after hearing this topic, that's something I've experienced and I'd like to chat about some of my personal experiences. we try to make this in such a way that it is really not a high pressure environment, and a place where you can slowly develop getting comfortable in the space. So those are some of our free resources that we have available, and we're actually in the progress right now of creating something new. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag quite yet, but it's something really exciting, and it should be ready by October. So we'll be promoting it then. But it's so important to us at Courage 365 to really promote education, to have free resources for survivors, and to build community in such a way that other people know that they are not alone. And one tip that I would have for you is, if you're feeling alone right now, consider joining our Facebook group. Consider joining our monthly peer support group, because sometimes we have to take a little bit of a risk to meet people, to put ourselves out there, to get to know others. And of course, do this as your intuition guides and leads you, but sometimes it can be scary to talk with other people who are survivors because you're self-conscious. But even just opening up a little bit can sometimes help you connect with another person and feel less alone. And that really, really, really is our goal here. So hopefully you've enjoyed these updates about Courage 365, our new board members, our partnership with She Learns, the 30 Days of Courage that's coming up, and all these free resources that we have to offer. If you want to be a part of helping Courage 365 continue to produce these tools for survivors and advocates, a tangible way you could get involved is actually to go to our website, just courage365.org, and we have a donate tab. And you can choose if you want to donate a one-time gift, a monthly recurring gift, and every little bit helps, because we're a small nonprofit. We don't have tons of big funders and sponsors. You would be surprised what a small shoestring budget that we have, and how every little bit counts. There are some organizations that have national attention, that have a big base of sponsors, supporters, and grants, and we are really much, much smaller than that. And your donation really goes a long, long way. So if you have been impacted by Courage in the past, if you are somebody who wants to be able to see us continuing to make resources, we would really appreciate a gift of whatever that amount is for you. But yeah, thank you all so much for listening. And the last thing I want to share, this is what I share pretty much at the end of every show, but we have one other resource. This is really one of my favorites, because this is one where I get to connect with you, and it is our Courage 365 text list. So with these text messages, you are able to go and type in this number. It is 917-809-7311. Type in the word courage in the message section, and when you do that, you'll automatically be added to our text list. Now, this text list is not something where you get messages from other survivors. You simply get messages from our nonprofit, and they are morning text messages with bits of courageous, inspiring tips, tools, words of empowerment every morning. And we have had people just say how much of a lifeline these have been. And if you respond back, though I might not be the one writing all the text messages, because we actually have some great writers who create these text messages. They are survivors themselves, but I do respond. So if you get a response when you reply, and you don't have to reply, but if you do reply, I'm the one who responds. And it's been so much fun getting to know people within our text messaging community. And again, if you want to be a part of that, it's free. It is 917-809-7311, and then you just put courage in the message section, and you're automatically signed up. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you for your love and support of Courage 365. And any way that you could help spread the word about our organization, or give us a donation, small or large, is welcomed. All the resources I mentioned are at courage365.org. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening and live with courage.